very good afternoon and welcome to Eswatini TV. My name is Lirato Mabilisa and as always, I am not alone. I am with my colleague Nogwazi Dlamini. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend and you got some rest and are ready for learning today. A very good afternoon, Nogwazi. How was your weekend?
Afternoon, Lerato, and afternoon to our viewers, and welcome to Home Study. My weekend was awesome, thank you. All I did was sleep. Thank you, Lerato. How was yours?
It was fantastic, actually. It was my sister's birthday, so it was quite great. Guys, we've got trivia questions for you today, so I hope you are ready to go an extra mile with your thoughts because we've got a lot of questions, interesting questions, actually.
Yes, we also have fun facts for you, and I'll give you mine just now. And this is my fun fact. Did you know the average human body carries 10 times more bacterial cells than human cells? All the bacteria living inside you could fill half a gallon of a jug. But don't worry yourselves. Most of these bacteria are helpful. In fact, we couldn't survive without them.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Fun fact indeed, Nogwazi.
Yes.
And I have a fun fact as well, but it's a bit weird for most people. My fun fact says the world's smallest poisonous frog is less than a centimeter long and its skin is 200 times more toxic than a morphine.
Wow. That's very, very interesting. I didn't know that there was something even more toxic than morphine. That's something very interesting
and
to know.
the size
right?
of the frog is
and
actually, it's
bizarre.
bizarre.
Yeah.
So today's timetable is as follows. I hope that the grade 7s, Form 3s and the Form 5s are ready, geared up to learn.
Yeah. So this is what today's timetable looks like, Lerato.
We have science for the grade 7s from 2 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. followed by science for Form 3 learners from 2:30 p.m. to 3:08 p.m. followed by religious education from 3:08 p.m. to 3:45 p.m. followed by Eswatini for the Form 5 learners from 3:45 p.m. to 4:25 p.m. And then the last subject for today is physics from 4:25 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Most definitely, we hope that you guys are ready for that. And just to remind you, we are live right now on YouTube and on Facebook. And if you have any questions, please feel free to use our WhatsApp number. But please, guys, don't call us, okay? But you can text us your questions that you might have. Without wasting any time, Lerato will be right back with you with the grade 7 science teacher, Sikhumbuzo Sifunza. We'll be right back after this.
Kumelula ukuthi ligciwane lecorona lisuke kulomunye lingene kulomunye uma sitawusonzelana. Singasita sinciphise kwanza kwalo ngekuthi sikhweshelane. Lokhu kusho ukuthi singachawulani, singathinzani njengokuhagana nje. Tikhweshise ngesigaba lesiyimitha kusuka kulabanye. Kumcoka kakhulu kuhlala uhlobile nekuthi hlobisa uma uke waphumela kubantu. Ngekubambisana sitakumisa kwanza kwaleli gciwane sibe ngulabaphilile. Eswatini sibambisene kulwa nekwanza kweligciwane lecorona.
When we talk of screening, basically this is a preventative measure of finding out if there's any problem that may present as a result. So when you screen, you are trying to find out whether it exists or not, the problem. So in our case, the idea of screening is to ensure that everyone does not present with high temperature. So anyone who's presenting with higher temperature than usual is then picked up. And then from then on, you'll then be tested to make sure that you have the virus or not. That is the main difference.
Eswatini sibambisene kulwa nekwanza kuligciwane le-corona.
A very warm welcome. My name is Lirato Mabilisa. If you've just tuned in, do not worry. We are learning grade 7 science with Mr. Sikumbuzo Sifunza, and the topic for today is magnetism. But before that, I have an interesting trivia question for you. The question is, which of Newton's laws state that for every action, which of Newton's laws state that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction? Please send the answer to our WhatsApp line, which pops up from time to time on your screens. Can I just repeat the question for you guys? Which of Newton's laws state that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction? I hope that you guys got that. A very good afternoon, Mr. Sifunza. How are you feeling today?
I'm very good, Larato. I'm very good. I'm good to be here, actually.
Okay, how was your weekend?
It was fun because I was preparing for today's lesson. I think I'm very excited to present today's lesson today. I cannot wait.
Okay, so I hear that today's topic is magnetism, and it speaks of certain metals being attracted by a magnet. What would you like the viewer to have learned by the end of the lesson?
Oh, thank you, Lerato. It's a very good thing that you note that it's not every metal that is being attracted by a magnet. To get to your question today, I expect the learners to learn the following objectives to be covered by the end of the lesson. The learners should be able to describe a magnet, its properties, and its use as well. The next point is that they should be able to classify objects into magnetic and non-magnetic. The next one, they should be able to describe a magnetic field and magnetic field lines. Last but one, it's that they should be able to describe a simple electromagnet, how it's made, and all that. I think that's all they have, the learners have to learn today, Larato.
Interesting indeed, Mr. Sifunza. Learn at home. I hope that you are ready for learning today, and you're going to be participating on our WhatsApp number and on YouTube. Mr. Sifunza, without wasting time, please take the learner through and have more enthusiasm so that the lesson is interesting.
All right, thank you very much, Lerato. Without a waste of time, I want us to shoot straight to the introduction, whereby I have a picture that I want the learners at home to look at. The picture right there shows an electromagnet. It shows an electromagnet, which is a temporary magnet that is being made to lift up heavy metals. So today's lesson is about learning about the use of magnets, why they, how they are being used, and how we should know a lot of things about the magnets. I will shoot straight to the first bullet of the presentation, whereby we will look at the properties of a magnet. First of all, the learners should be aware that a magnet is an object that can attract certain metals, like Lerato said. It is made of magnetic material mainly, which is steel, and then it has two poles, the north pole and the south pole. And then we also have to learn that magnets, like I have said, that they have two poles. They have two poles, like I said. Sorry. Since I said that they have two poles, this is my point right here. I think everyone can see it. Magnets have two poles. Having said that, the like poles or the same poles of magnets, they attract, and different poles of the magnet, they do not attract. I will elaborate mainly about that in the next slide. That is where I want us to look at right now. Having said that, a magnet has two poles, the north pole and the south pole. Like poles of magnet, when I say like poles of magnet, I mean that similar poles, that is the north pole and a north pole, they will repel. But when the north pole, when we bring together a north pole and a south pole, the magnet will attract, meaning that unlike poles of magnet, poles that are not the same of a magnet, they do what? They attract. But then when we speak about bringing together a north pole and a north pole, these are like poles. They are the same poles. So what will happen there? The magnets will not attract, instead they will repel. Repelling is that a word that I've just underlined with the two lines there, meaning that magnets, when two poles are brought together which are the same, they do not attract. That the same thing happens when we bring a south pole together with another south pole. What will happen is the magnet will not attract. The next thing that I want us to look at is the types of magnets. I'm sure the learners at home have questions of, okay, we are learning about magnets. Are there different types of magnets? The answer should be yes. We have three types of magnets, that is the bar magnet, the cylindrical magnet, and the horseshoe magnet. I am going to show you a picture of the different magnets that we have. We have a bar magnet, like I said. This is the bar magnet. We have a cylindrical magnet. This is the cylindrical magnet. We have also a horseshoe magnet. This one is a horseshoe. They call it a horseshoe because it looks like a horseshoe, like that. So that is why we call it a horseshoe magnet. Now I want us to look to go to the next slide, whereby we're going to have an activity there. We're going to play a short video as to whereby we'll be determining whether a substance or an object is magnetic or not. We're going to play that video right now. As you can see on the video, there's a bar magnet being used there to attract certain objects there. With a crayon, it did not attract. A coin did not attract. And then we have a silver coin which attract. Some pins are also attracting as well. And then those screws, they are being attracted by a magnet, meaning that they are magnetic substances. And then a pen, as you can see, there's a pen there and a marker pen. It is not being attracted by a magnet, meaning that it is not magnetic. I can see also the staples, they're being attracted by a magnet, and those metallic objects there, but the pencil, crayon, the crayon, pencil, and the marker pen, they are not being attracted, meaning that they are not magnetic substances. So your job at home, viewer, learners, is to determine which substances are magnetic and which ones are not magnetic. I am sure you have seen the video there. On the video, we had quite a number of substances, one of which was a nail, a pencil, a crayon, a marker, a plastic ruler. Unfortunately, we did not have that one, but we had a plastic pen, screws, and coins. Some of the coins, you note that there is one, the brown one, or yes, the brown coin did not attract on the magnet, meaning that that one is different from the silver coin. So your work is to classify these objects into magnetic and non-magnetic. I'm going to give you just a second to do that. I hope this is what you came up with. Under magnetic substances or objects, we have a coin, a nail, a screw, pins. Under non-magnetic, meaning that the substances that are not being attracted by a magnet, we have a plastic ruler, which in this case we substituted it with a pen, a pencil, a marker, a crayon. I can add also the brown coin that we had, which is not magnetic. We are going to move on to the next slide, which is now to the next topic, which is about still on magnetism. Sorry, just give me a minute there. I think something is happening there. All right, we're going to talk about a magnetic field now. Before I talk about a magnetic field, before we go on to talk about a magnetic field, we are going to going to give Lerato to say something there to the viewer at home.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Can we please take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back after the break.
All right, that's good.
Labanengi labangenwa ligciwane lecorona bavame kuba netimpawu letingasito letimatima njengebuhlungu bemphimbo, kuphathwa inhloko, kushisa nekubanza, kukhwehlela lokomile, kuphefumula kalukhuni kanye nekudzinwa. Kepha kulabanye kuba matima njengoba leli gciwane lihlasela emaphaphu. Ngesikhathi umtimba ulwa nalo leli gciwane, kwakheka emanti lagcwala emaphashini. Emaphaphu-ke angagcwala emanti, akuphefumuleki. Lokhu-ke kubanga tingcinamba letinengi. Kuthi khweshisa kulabanye kuyasita ekunciphiseni kwanza kwesifo i-COVID-19. Hlala ekhaya ungahambi. Eswatini sibambisene kulwa nekwanza kweligciwane lecorona.
Ligciwane le
Welcome back, viewer. If you've just tuned in, my name is Lerato Mabilisa, and for the trivia question that I gave you guys earlier, 78555884 gave the correct answer, and the answer is the third law of motion. So thank you very much for the answer. And to Vusi Egama, hello, we can see you. We are not ignoring you. It's just that there's a lot of questions. I hope that you understand now. And then we are back to Mr. Sifunza. He has to redo something about the magnets, the like and unlike poles, so that the grade 7s understand what he meant. Mr. Sifunza, please continue with your lesson.
Okay, thank you, Lerato, and thanks to the viewer at home. I just want to correct some few things when it comes to the properties of a magnet. When we talk about properties of a magnet, we have quite a number of them. One of which is to say that like poles of magnet repel, and unlike poles of magnet attract. I think that's just the most thing that I have to emphasize there. Like poles of magnet repel, and unlike poles of magnet attract, meaning that if it is a north pole and a north pole brought together, they will repel. And also, if it is a south pole with a south pole brought together, they will repel. But if you bring together a north pole and a south pole, what will happen is that the magnets will do what? They will attract. So that's just one thing that I had to highlight and correct there before we go on to the next slide there, where we have to talk about a magnetic field. Now, talking about a magnetic field, we have stated that we have three magnets, that is the horseshoe, the bar, and the cylindrical magnet. If you put a magnet around the magnet, there is a field, an area around the magnet where the magnetic force acts, meaning that whenever you place a magnetic object around the magnetic field of a magnet, it will be attracted by the magnet. But if you put it away from the magnetic field, it will not be attracted by the magnet. Now, a magnetic field, having said that, I've mentioned that it is the area around the magnet where there is a magnetic force. Now, what happens there is that this magnetic field can be shown by drawing magnetic field lines. Now, having mentioned that, we are going to watch a video showing exactly how these magnetic field lines show and how also the magnet has strength at the poles. That's the video showing on screen right now. We have quite a number of things that we're going to use for the purpose of the experiment. We're going to use iron filings as shown on the picture, on the video there. We also have that dispenser. It is for dispensing the iron filings on top of the paper. And then we have that magnet. It's a bar magnet labeled North Pole and the South Pole. And then we are going to put that white paper on top of the magnet. But before that is done, we are going to write the North Pole as well as the South Pole to show where the North Pole and South Pole is. It is very good to understand that now we are looking at the properties of magnets, whereby we are saying the magnet has more strength at the poles, and also it has a magnetic field, which is a field of power that acts around the magnet. Right there on the video, we are adding, or we are pouring those iron filings, as you can see, onto the dispenser. We want to spread these iron filings on top of the white paper so that you can see clearly how these magnetic field lines show. As you can see, the iron filings are being spread on top of the paper. We have a magnet underneath, remember that, which has the North Pole and the South Pole. As you can see right on the video, more iron filings are going towards the poles. This means that a magnet has more power at the poles, or it has more strength at the poles. And I hope you can see clearly those magnetic field lines as shown on the video there. It shows that now these magnetic field lines, they run from the north to the South Pole. And as you can see, they are not very clear, but it shows very well what you're supposed to see. They run from the North Pole to the South Pole. And then on the poles, that is where more iron filings are being concentrated, meaning that the magnet has more strength there. I hope you have seen that's another property of a magnet, it having like more strength at the poles. Now the diagram there shows the magnetic field lines being shown and spread on top of the magnet. I hope that one is very clear. We are going to move on to a picture, which now this is what was supposed to be seen. It's just that our magnetic field lines, we were using bigger iron filings. That is why it was not as neat as that one on the diagram. Last year during the examination, there was a question about magnetic field lines. I hope some of you who have passed examination papers remember that. When you are asked to draw magnetic field lines, you draw them running from the North Pole to the South Pole, and then you take note of the arrows right here. These arrows illustrate clearly that now the magnetic field lines are running from the North Pole to the South Pole, and then you put on those arrows, and even there was supposed to be an arrow on that line. I hope that one is clear. Magnetic field and magnetic field lines, meaning that if you put an object here, it will be attracted by the magnet or repelled by the magnet. Even if you put it here, it will be attracted, but putting it here, it will not be attracted by the magnet because it is away from the magnetic field. This is the field. Now we are going to move on to the next topic, whereby we talk about now an electromagnet. I am sure most of you have a question what an electromagnet is. An electromagnet is a temporary magnet that is made by winding around a copper wire on top of a magnetic object, such as a nail, and connecting both ends of the copper wire to an electric source. In our case, we're going to use batteries or cells. It can be switched on and off, meaning that this is not a permanent magnet. The electromagnet will have temporary magnetic force or power, which only works when connected to the batteries or the electric source, which will enable it to attract other magnetic objects as long as it is connected. We are going to play our last experiment video, whereby we will show exactly how an electromagnet is made. When making an electromagnet, I hope I have mentioned that we will need batteries. There's a circuit board there. I hope you can see that white a thing there. We call it a circuit board. And then we have the nail, and then around the nail we have woven or wounded a copper wire. And then when we have copper wires which will transport electricity or current from the batteries to the electromagnet, we are going to connect that the ends of the electromagnet or the copper wires around the nail to that electric source, to those copper wires that are red and black. What we need to understand that is that by the end of this experiment, you should understand that you can make a temporary magnet by doing that, and then the magnet will attract other magnetic objects, and it is not a permanent magnet. It is a temporary magnet, having mentioned that. It only works when as long as it is connected to the electric source. Right now, I hope you can see there. The power, I think, was off there. The electricity was not flowing. When you let the electricity to flow, and then we put it close, as you can see, that's very nice. The pins have attract onto the nail. It does not mean that the nail is a magnet, but the nail is a temporary magnet which has been made by connecting it to the battery or the electric source. I want to show a picture of an electromagnet which can be made if you are asked to draw a picture at home or at school, whereby you have to show an electromagnet. This is a electric source or a battery. These are the copper wires I'm talking about, and then this is the nail, which is our electromagnet, and then you connect the ends of the copper wires on the battery, and then magnetic substances will be attracted by the magnet as long as it is connected to the battery or the cells. Thank you very much. Now, as you can see that we have magnetic substances here. These magnetic substances will only be attracted by the nail as long as it is connected to the electric source, which is the battery. There's another diagram of the electromagnet which can also be drawn in this manner, as you can see. And then lastly, I want us to talk about an activity. I think we've done this one already. Activity of making an electromagnet whereby we can use those mentioned apparatus. I hope that one is clear with everyone, and viewers, learners at home can now be in a position to do that experiment at home. And then we are going to go to the next slide, whereby we will talk about factors affecting the strength of an electromagnet. Just give me a moment there. Factors affecting the strength of an electromagnet, which means there are factors that can affect the strength of the electromagnet. We have the number of coils, that is the number of windings around the nail or the magnetic object. If there are more coils or windings around the magnetic object, the electromagnet will have more power, meaning that if you decrease the number of coils or the windings, the strength of the electromagnet will be reduced. And then also increasing the amount of electricity, increasing the number of cells, also increases the strength of the electromagnet, but also reducing the number of cells in the connection, it reduces the strength of the electromagnet, as I have mentioned that. So we have two factors affecting the strength of an electromagnet. Number one, the number of coils or the windings around the magnetic object, and number two, the number of cells available on the connection. More cells means more strength, and more coils means more strength to the electromagnet. And then reducing the number of cells and reducing also the number of coils means that you are reducing the strength of the electromagnet as well. We are going to move on to the uses of magnets. Magnets are used for many things, one of which is electric locks. I'm sure most of you have gone to banks whereby for you to get inside, someone has to press a button so that the door opens. So we can say that magnets are being used in electric locks. They are also used in appliances such as televisions. As you're watching now, there's a magnet that is being in play there, in use. Then radios, microwave ovens, and also electric bells at school. When you hear the bells ringing, means there's an electric, there's a magnet that is being at work there. Electric motors, I think we learn that when you get to high school. I want us to rush quickly to the summary of the lesson, whereby we have mentioned that a magnet is an object that attracts other objects which are magnetic. A magnet has two poles, that is the north pole and the south pole. A magnet has more strength at the poles. I think that one, we have seen that one. And there are three types of magnet. There's a bar, cylindrical, and a horseshoe magnet. And then we also talked about the fact that like poles of magnet like poles of magnet repel, and unlike poles of magnet attract. And then lastly, objects that are attracted by magnets are called magnetic, but those not attract are called non-magnetic. Please note that. An electromagnet, we talked about it. It is a temporary magnet, unlike the other magnets, the bar, the horseshoe, and the cylindrical. An electromagnet is made by winding a copper wire around a magnetic object such as a nail, as we have seen in the experiment, and connecting both ends of the copper wire to a cell or an electric source. Last but not least, we have factors that affect the strength of an electromagnet. We have said that is the number of cells in the connection and also the number of coils. Lastly, we said that magnets are used in many appliances such as televisions, radios, speakers, and many others that you can think of. That brings us to the end of our lesson, Lerato. Thank you very much to the viewers or the learners at home. And thanks to you, Lerato, for hosting me.
Okay. Thank you very much to you as well for joining us in studio, and thank you to the viewer for watching. But before you leave, sir, there's a question from the viewer. Actually, there's questions. The first one says, what are the properties of a magnet? And then the second one says, if you can, please repeat the types of magnets. So I'm not sure which one you're going to start with, but there's two questions.
Okay, that's very interesting, which means the viewers at home or the learners are following. I want to bring a slide that shows the types of magnets. I think now if you look at, when you look on the screen, we have three types. We said that we have three types of magnets. That is the bar magnet. This one is called the bar. We have the cylindrical, which is this one. And lastly, the horseshoe magnet, which is this one. Coming to properties of these magnets is that they have strength at the poles, and like poles of magnets repel, they do not attract. But unlike poles, meaning different poles, that could be the north pole and the south pole, they do what? They attract. And magnets have more strength at the poles. I'm just going to quickly show you where the poles are. These are the poles of the horseshoe magnet. These are the poles of the cylindrical magnet, and the poles of the bar magnet. I think that's all. Can you please remind me of the other question?
The other question said, what are the properties of a magnet? Okay,
properties have been mentioned. I can just highlight a bit, saying that magnets have more strength at the poles. They have two poles, the north pole and the south pole, and then they have more power at the poles. I think those are the properties of magnets that we can talk about, unless there is another question. I think I'm missing something out. Please check all the questions before I move on.
Yes, all the questions. So it was, please repeat the types of magnets and the properties of magnets.
That's very brilliant. I think the learner at home has been sorted with those ones. I think in the interest of time, if we still have some time, I will leave this slide on screen.
Sorry, sir. Unfortunately, there's no time.
There's no time. All right. I think if there are questions, they will be answered in the next lesson or via the media services such as YouTube and maybe WhatsApp. Thank you very much, Lerato.
Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. Up next is my colleague Nogwazi Dlamini, who is going to be presenting the next subject for Form 3 learners, which is science. So, Nogwazi, I hope you're ready, and I hope that the viewer at home is also ready to start learning. So, Form 3s, don't go anywhere. We're going to be back after the commercial break.
Wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing the song. Wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
Labanengi labangenwa ligciwane lecorona bavame kuba netimpawu letingasito letimatima njengebuhlungu bemphimbo, kuphathwa inhloko, kushisa nekubanza, kukhwehlela lokomile, kuphefumula kalukhuni kanye nekudzinwa. Kepha kulabanye kuba matima njengoba leli gciwane lihlasela emaphaphu. Ngesikhathi umtimba ulwa nalo leli gciwane, wakheka emanti lagcola emaphashini. Emaphaphu-ke angagcola emanti akuphefumuleki. Lokhu-ke kubanga tingcinamba letinengi. Kuthi khweshisa kulabanye kuyasita ekunciphiseni kwanza kwesifo i-COVID-19. Hlala ekhaya ungahambi. Eswatini sibambisene kulwa nekwanza kweligciwane lecorona.
Wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing the song. Wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Taking care of yourself is also taking care of others. We're all in this together.
A very good afternoon and a warm welcome back to our viewers. This is Eswatini TV and you are still tuned in to Home Study. My name is Nogwazi Dlamini and at this moment we are going to be doing Form 3 Science. So Form 3, I hope you are ready. Already joining me in the studio is Nombumelelo Matebula, who is going to be doing the Science Form 3 lesson. Also joining us in the studio is our sign language interpreter, Zanele Mota. How are you doing today, Nombumelelo?
I'm fine, sister, and you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
So today I understand that we're doing transportation, right?
Yes, sister.
You're looking a bit nervous today. Don't be nervous.
Oh,
Are you okay?
No. I'm okay.
It's Monday. Let's have energy for the week.
Yes, sister.
Yes, I understand today we're doing transportation.
Mm-hmm.
What do you expect your learner to have learned by the end of this lesson?
Today's lesson is about transportation, as you have said.
Yes.
This transportation, it is happening within our body, so it's mainly conducted by the circulatory system.
Okay.
So we are studying just that, and all that make up the circulatory system we'll be discussing it, which is the blood,
Okay.
the heart, and the blood vessels that are involved.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
So I hope the Form 3s are ready for that. Can we have a bit of energy?
Thank you.
Today is Monday. Let's start the week on a very high note. Okay. Form 3s viewers, I have not forgotten about my trivia question. I'm going to give it to you just now. It is, please listen carefully. What is the smallest country in the world? I'll repeat this question. What is the smallest country in the world? I hope that you will be able to answer me on YouTube or on WhatsApp if you can. And just to remind you, speaking of our social media platforms, we are live on YouTube and on Facebook. And if you have questions, you can ask us on our WhatsApp number, especially the questions on this subject. All right, Nombumelelo, let me not waste your time. You can start your lesson.
Thank you so much, Kwasi.
Thank you.
Later at home, as we have said, we are looking at transport, and this transport we have said we need the blood, we need the heart and the blood vessels for it to be able to convey move all that we have in our blood. So let's go back to basics. This topic is very important because you will need it. You will need it, or we use it in our daily life. The food that we eat finally must get to the bloodstream and be transported to the body systems. And for that to happen, we have said we need what? The blood. So it means now we are going to look at the circulatory system. But first, let me ask you this question. According to your understanding, why do the health practitioners, when you go to the clinics, or even now we know there is 977, they come and help us at home, they usually take what we call the blood pressure. Why do they do that? Of course, so that they can check if our hearts are able to beat normally. That is pumping the blood and beating 72 times in 1 minute. So as we have said, the heart, the blood vessels, and the blood together they form what we call the circulatory system. So in the circulatory system, we have said we have these three, as already mentioned, we have the three that are involved in the circulatory of the system. The blood, it is further composed of cells. These are the red and white blood cells, and it also made up of the blood plasma, which is the fluid in the blood, and the platelets. All these are found within the blood, and this blood, we have said, it moves through blood vessels. The blood vessels are also divided into 3 types: the arteries, the veins, and the capillaries. This blood circulates around the body from the heart. So the blood circulatory system is divided into 2, which is the systemic blood circulation and the pulmonary circulation. The systemic involves only the heart and the body, and the pulmonary involves the heart and the lungs. Now, we have said what makes up the circulatory system are the 3. So, when we take a blood sample in the laboratories, they will take the blood sample and put it on a centrifuge, which is a machine you find in the lab, where the blood will be spun. So the centrifuge spins so that it separates what we find in the blood. We have said we have the blood plasma as already labeled. We have the cells, white blood cell and the red blood cells. We have said in the blood we have all these that we have mentioned, the cells, the plasma. So this is blood flowing within a blood vessel. From each, if a sample is taken, but this time put it on a slide and viewed under a microscope, what we'll be seeing are the three types of cells and the plasma. So we have the red blood cells. We have one type here of white blood cell, but the white blood cell is not always in that form. We have a white blood cell also in with this shape, which is the nucleus in this case is in this shape as I have indicated. So we use this shape. We have the cell, then we have the nucleus. As in this case there is the nucleus. It's just that white blood cells comes in many forms or shapes. So we all have the blood plasma, we have the blood vessels, and then we have the two types of cells. In this case the red and the white blood cells, just that this side we have them shown on their own pictures. Well, now let us discuss each of these type of blood components. The red blood cells, as we have seen, they are in this format of a shape. They are biconcave discs, the shapes, and they have no nucleus. They contain a red pigment which is called hemoglobin, and these contain some ion which will combine with oxygen. As oxygen gets into the bloodstream, the red blood cells will be the one that will be taking in the oxygen and transport it throughout the body. Then we look at the white blood cells. The white blood cells, as you have seen, they come in many shapes or forms. They contain the nucleus in them, as you know, a normal animal cell. Then they have this function: they protect the body against infection. How do they achieve that? They produce some antibodies. These antibodies, they fight against diseases, and so we will be healthy, so they keep the body healthy. Sometimes they will detect a foreign, such as bacteria, and these now they will, as they are invading the body, they will engulf or circle around. They will engulf this invader and finally destroy it, so that we do not get sick. We have just looked at the two. We normally do not go into depth with the platelets, but we do have them. We'll just give on the summary of all these blood components. You will see its function. Then we have the blood plasma. The blood plasma, it is made up mainly of water, which is about 90% of its contents is water, and it consists of other substances such as proteins and hormones and the mineral salts. All this is coming from the food. These mineral salts are coming from the food that we eat. After the food has been digested, all will go into the bloodstream. What does it do? The blood plasma transports all that it is found within it, and also distributes some heat around the body. In summary of these three that are found in the blood, we talk of their uses. We have said we have the red blood cells. The red blood cells, they simply transport oxygen. They transport oxygen from the lungs to all body cells and tissues. The white blood cells, we say they protect the body against infections. And then the plasma, we said it transports the nutrients from the food we eat, the waste material which is made especially during respiration in the cells, and also spreads the heat around the body. Then we said we have also the platelets. The platelets, they ensure that if somebody has been hurt, there will be a blood clot to stop the bleeding in case you have been hurt and you are now bleeding. So the platelets have that ability to stop bleeding of that wound. Then the second component of the circulatory system is the blood itself. The heart, which is now circulating within the body. How does it circulate? We need a heart to pump the blood through the whole body. So we have the heart, and the heart is divided into 4 chambers. The 4 chambers are separated by the muscles. We have the right and the left side of the heart. In the left and right, we have 4 chambers. We have the atria and the ventricles. Atria are at the top of the heart, and the ventricles at the bottom. These are on one side. We have the right atrium and the right ventricle, and on the other side we have the left atrium and the left ventricle. So what you must note here is that blood on the right can never mix with the other on the left, but what you must note that is the blood on either does not mix but is different, because the blood on the right hand side is the blood that is coming from the body through the main vein, which is called the vena cava, and is deoxygenated. This is on the right hand side. And then on the left hand side there is also the atrium and the ventricle, but the blood will be moving, which is now coming from the lungs. It will be oxygenated, but we say we have the main blood vessel coming from the body bringing in the deoxygenated blood. It is the vena cava, which goes deliver the blood to the right atrium. Then it will move down and passing through the valves in the heart down to the right ventricle. Then the ventricle pushes the blood out of, it will push it up and pump it to the main, it pumps it through the pulmonary artery to the lungs, so that carbon dioxide is taken out of the blood and oxygen diffuses into the blood. So it means there is gaseous exchange. Blood will then flow back to the heart through the pulmonary vein. The pulmonary vein to the left atrium. It's not the ventricle. Please note, it's not the ventricle, but instead is the pulmonary vein. Is the pulmonary vein to the left atrium, and then it flows down to the left ventricle. Once it is in the left ventricle, obviously it will be pumped to the body now. When it is pumped to the body, it is moving to the whole body. It is pumped through the main artery, which is called the aorta, the main artery. And this blood now is oxygenated. There is more oxygen after diffusion of carbon dioxide out of the blood and diffusion of oxygen into the blood, where in the lungs. So we have said the two, there is blood on the right and blood on the left. The two do not communicate. The left hand side of the heart does not communicate with the right hand side. So the right of the heart and the left of the heart, their blood do not mix. So let us explain this now, looking at the structure of the heart. In the structure of the heart, we have the, as already indicated, we have the first chamber, which is the right atrium, and we have the second, which is the right ventricle. Let me emphasize that why I say it is right. Well, you can see that when you look at the diagram, this, according to you, it seems like this is the left and this one is the right. No, always when you draw diagrams, the diagrams are facing us. So my left in the diagram is the right. My right in the diagram is left. What we are talking about is something that you must take note of. Always in the diagrams, the left is what is on the right hand side when you look at it, but it is facing you on the opposite direction, as we are saying facing you. We are not in the same direction, we are facing each other, so we are opposites. Now we are saying blood gets to the heart through the vena cava. It's from the body, as it states here. It is deoxygenated. As you can see, it's deoxygenated. It is coming to the heart, and the valves open when the atrium contracts, so that the blood is pushed down to the ventricle, and it does not remain there. It will be pushed out. As you see the arrow, it will be pushed out of the heart to the lungs through the pulmonary artery, as it is stated. So this is the pulmonary artery. It is moving to the lungs. From the lungs, then the gaseous exchange occurs. So oxygen now will be back into the blood and is taken to the heart through, it's taken to the heart here. It's taken to the heart through this one. So oxygenated blood from the lungs gets to the heart through the pulmonary vein, and again, first it will be taken by the atrium, which is now the left atrium, then passes through the valve after the contraction and down to the ventricle, which is the left ventricle, and finally pushed out of the heart and pumped to the body through the main artery, which is called the aorta. So, like we have said, blood gets on the right from the body out to the lungs to be oxygenated, back to the heart after oxygenated, and out to the body again. Hence we are saying circulatory system. It is moving in circles. Okay, I hope you have understood that part of how the blood flows in the heart. Lastly, we are talking of the blood vessels now. We have 3 blood vessels which are used in the pumping of the blood. The blood will move through the body using these blood vessels. We have them as the veins, and we have the arteries, and in between them we have what we call the capillaries. At times we say these are the ends of the arteries and also the beginnings of the veins, these capillaries. As you can see in size, they are the smallest, but they are more of a network. It means there are more of them. These are now branching from, we have the branch of either arteries or veins, and when they branch, they form a smaller blood vessels that finally branch to be a network of even tinier capillaries, which is where diffusion of all these substances will occur. And then each of these, when you look at them, you have to study how are they, the structures of the two. We look at the arteries. We have the arteries here. Looking at them a bit back, this you can see when you look at the diameters of each. This one, a vein, has a bigger diameter than that of the artery. The thickness of this now is thicker and thinner, this one, but the diameter of where the blood will flow seems to be small. Okay, now let's quickly, we are looking at the blood vessels. The vessels, as you can see, they are structures now. They are made of layers, but all we are concerned about is now the difference on the two. Beside the diameter, there are valves here on the veins. We have veins that are made of valves. What is the importance of the valves? We have said these have muscles that are elastic, this side, but this side we have the valves. Being elastic will enable the contraction and relaxation as the blood is pumped out. And the valves here, they prevent the veins do not have the elastic muscle inside. So if they have no elastic muscle, then they need the valve so that blood flows in one direction. Flows in one direction, does not move back. Once it has got in, it must be moved forward in one direction. Okay, so on the last part, we have said we look at the arteries. What is their job? They carry out oxygenated blood from the heart to the whole body, except for the pulmonary artery, which is connecting the lungs and the heart. So blood from the heart to the lungs must be pumped through the pulmonary artery. And they have thick elastic walls, as we have already mentioned. They branch to arterioles and capillaries at their ends, and they are small in size. Then the next one are the veins. We have already mentioned most of this. It's just that we need you to have this as part of your notes. Well, when I discuss this, I hope you have seen it. And the blood in the veins does not come on a high pressure because we said they are not muscular, so they are not able to contract and relax. Instead, they need the use of the valves. In conclusion, from what we have learned today, we have described the composition of the blood and listed the components as the cells, plasma, and platelets, and then also listed the functions of that. And then we also listed the 4 chambers of the heart where blood is flowing, and we have shown how the blood flows through it. And we have described the 3 types of the blood vessels, which we are just from. And emphasis, only veins will supply the heart with blood. The left, at the right hand side, is the vena cava. The left is the pulmonary vein. So I can only show you this summary of what we have here. It says, describe the flow of blood in this diagram. So in short, we are talking about what we have discussed. We have said blood gets from, it is pumped, it is moving from the body through the vena cava to the heart in the right hand side, atrium, ventricle, out through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. From the lungs, where it is oxygenated, it comes back to the left hand side through the pulmonary vein to the left atrium, left ventricle, and out through the main artery, which is the aorta. I'll just leave you with these questions to answer on your own. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson and you have benefited a lot. So please answer those questions as part of your homework. Enjoy the lesson by doing some work. Thank you, Nogwazi.
Thank you very much, Nombumelelo. A very interesting science lesson it was today, and we hope we'll see you again for another interesting one.
Indeed.
Thank you
It will
so
be
much.
another body system. Okay.
Yes. Remember at the beginning of our lesson, I asked you the trivia question. What is the smallest country in the world? And you guys gave a lot of answers. No, it's not Maputo. No, it's not Eswatini. It is the Vatican City. So thank you very much to Wamugelwe Makakula, Linda Chief Masocha Twala. You guys got the question right. Right, viewers, Lerato will be right back with the Form 3 religious education teacher. We'll be right back after this very short infomercial.
Wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing this song. Wash. Move your hands and fingers in the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Taking care of yourself is also taking care of others. We're all in this together.
COVID-19, yes, the coronavirus. It is now our daily talk. It is now our everyday breaking news. I think it's high time we all come together and make sure we bring an end to this. Cause we can't sit down while it's still taking over. Let's all follow all the precautions given by the health department so that we can protect ourselves and also protect others.
I just wash my hands before I touch. I just close my mouth before I cough. And I just close my mouth before I sneeze. And I don't go to parties, that's a risk, yeah. I see.
I wash my hands before I touch.
I see.
I close my mouth before I cough.
I see.
I close my mouth before I sneeze.
I see.
I don't go to parties, that's a risk.
I see. People going through a lot. I see. Coronavirus is a threat. I see. I don't go to parties, that's a risk. I see. I close my mouth before I cough. In case you're wondering, just wash your hands in case you handle things, and then keep an eye if you sneeze or cough, gotta keep it covered. I mean, who am I? Just a person living, wanna see you living, cause I value life. Eswatini, raise up, we gon' fight and conquer, cause we really got this.
I see. I wash my hands before I touch.
I see.
I close my mouth before I cough.
I see.
I close my mouth before I sneeze.
I see.
I don't go to parties, that's a risk.
Believe that some of the people you know can never be trusted at all. You gotta be cautious. Wash your hands more often, can trust everything that we touch. And when you sneeze, you gotta make sure you cover your mouth, but not with your hands, cause you do not know who you're gonna touch or what you have touched before all of that. Avoid meeting up with too many people for your own good and everyone else. You gotta make sure you keep it all clean. Watch how you maneuver, look after yourself. A hand sanitizer won't kill you. Make sure that you use running water. Just think of our brothers and sisters in the country and the ones that are outside the borders. Yeah.
I see. I wash my hands before I touch. I see, I see. I close my mouth before I cough. I see, I see. I close my mouth before I sneeze. I see, I see. I don't go to parties, that's a risk. Let's all come together and all say, not today, coronavirus.
A very warm welcome, viewer. If you've just tuned in, my name is Lirado Mabilisa, and right now we are doing religious education with Miss Nomfundo, and the topic is the Roman trials. A very good afternoon and welcome, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Lerato. How are you?
I'm alright. How are you today?
I'm good myself.
I'm good. Please keep that enthusiasm going, so that the lesson is very interesting for the learners. So today's topic is is the Roman trials, right?
Yes, we're doing the Roman trials.
Okay, so what would you like the learner or the viewer to have learned by the end of the lesson?
Yes, this lesson is going to help learners to understand why Jesus Christ had to had so many trials before his crucifixion.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Viewer at home, I have a trivia question, another one for you, and it says the oldest living tree is 4,843 years old, and where can it be found? This is the question, guys. The oldest living tree is 4,843 years old. And where can it be found? It seems very tricky, I know. Please do not go on the internet, guys. Please. So please give us the answer on our WhatsApp line. Miss, do you know the answer?
Not really.
Okay, without wasting your time, you can take the viewer through.
Yes, good afternoon, learners. Welcome to our religious education lesson. Today we are looking at the Roman trials, the trials before Pontius Pilate and Herod in the Roman court. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to give an account of the trials of Jesus, of the Roman trials of Jesus, the trials before Pilate, the trial before Herod, and again the second trial before Pilate. You should be able to explain the significance of the trials of Jesus. You should be able to analyze the charges laid against Jesus. You should also be able to explain why Pilate ended up giving into the people's demands. And lastly, you should be able to explain the lessons learned from the trials of Jesus. So that is why it is important for you to get your Bibles ready. Make sure it's RSV, your notebooks and your pens to take notes as the lesson progresses. Let us look at the first Roman trial, the trial before Pilate. Before we look at that, you will remember, dear learner, that in our previous lesson, we looked at the trial of Jesus before the Sanhedrin. We looked at the trial before the Sanhedrin, the Jewish court. We've seen, dear learner, that Jesus Christ was accused of religious offenses, calling himself the Christ, calling himself the Son of God, equating himself to God. So all these charges were blasphemous. They were religious charges. You will also remember, dear learner, that in our previous lesson we have said that the Jewish court only addressed religious issues, religious matters, but they were not allowed to pass a death sentence. So these religious leaders who so desired to see Jesus Christ being crucified, then had to proceed to the Roman court so that Jesus Christ is crucified. They get what they wanted. I will also want us like us to look at a brief background of Rome, the Romans. Okay, so during this time in Palestine was under the Roman rule. They were colonized by the Romans. One good thing about the Romans is that they allowed all nations that they colonized to practice freely their own religion. So that was the same case with the Jews who were colonized by the Romans. Even though Romans imposed Roman rule on them, but they allowed them to practice their religions freely. They did not interfere with their religion, which is why today we are going to see the accusations against Jesus Christ shifting from being religious to being political, because now they had to be addressed at a different court. Let us look at that. So now we are looking at Jesus' trial before Pilate. This is taken from the book of Luke, chapter 23, verse 1 to 5. So after being tried by the Sanhedrin, the case proceeded to the Roman court. He is brought before Pilate. Pilate was a Roman leader and was the one responsible in the Roman court. When he was brought to Pilate, like I said, that the charges now changed from being religious to being political. Now he is accused of perverting the nation. He is accused of causing a riot, causing the people to rebel against Rome. He is also accused of forbidding people from paying taxes. There is another charge that is leveled against Jesus. And lastly, he is accused of calling himself Christ the King, which was also another serious offense, because the Romans were the only people responsible for appointing kings. So Jesus Christ is an imposter, a self-proclaimed king. So that was a serious charge. So when he was brought and all these charges were leveled against him, Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And Jesus said, "You have said," meaning that what you have said is true. He said, "You have said so," meaning that what you have said is true. I am the king. After interrogating Jesus Christ, examining him, Pilate said that he finds no crime in him. So Pilate said that he was not guilty. He found him not guilty of the charges laid against him. However, the crowds were so angry and they insisted that Jesus Christ had been stirring up the people with his teachings through all Judea, from Galilee to Jerusalem. So he was causing a stir amongst the people from all the way from Judea, from Galilee to Jerusalem. So hearing that Jesus Christ was Galilean, Pontius Pilate decided that the matter should proceed to Herod, who was the king of Judea at that time. He was responsible for Galilee. So that is why Jesus Christ was then Jesus' case was then referred to Herod, who happened to be in Jerusalem at that time. So he was brought to Herod. Now that is a trial, a trial before King Herod. Herod was very happy. He was so excited to see Jesus. for he had heard so many things about Jesus Christ. He had heard of the miracles that Jesus Christ performed. And at this time, Herod hoped that Jesus Christ will also perform a miracle or wonders for him. So he was very amused hearing that Jesus Christ was coming to him. He thought Jesus Christ would entertain him. Okay? So when he was with Herod, Herod also interrogated him. He questioned Jesus at some length. But surprisingly, Jesus Christ made no answer. Jesus Christ did not respond to any of Herod's question. Probably because Jesus Christ despised Herod. You will remember, dear Lena, that earlier on, when we started looking at the gospel according to Luke, we have seen Herod as an evil and cruel king. This is the same Herod who took his brother's wife. This is the same Herod who murdered John the Baptist. So being an immoral man, Jesus Christ felt that he cannot answer to such an evil man. So as he was being interrogated, the chief priests and the scribes, insisted that Jesus Christ was guilty. You will see, dear learners, in this picture that I have here. This is Herod the king, and these are representatives of the chief priests and the scribes. These are Herod's soldiers who were with him at that time, and here is Jesus Christ here, who is being interrogated. You can also see, dear learners, that these chief priests and scribes are insisting to Herod that Jesus Christ is guilty. They are insisting that this man has been perverting the nation because they so much desired to see Jesus Christ being punished. So they insisted that he was guilty so that he will be punished. Herod and his soldiers moved on to mock Jesus Christ. They mocked him. Herod joined his soldiers to mock him, and they dressed him in gorgeous apparel. At first, we have seen Herod having so much desire to see Jesus Christ, being excited to see Jesus Christ, and then he longed that Jesus Christ will perform his miracles, will entertain him with his miraculous works. But when Jesus Christ did not give in to his wishes, he decided to join his soldiers in mocking Jesus Christ. They dressed him in gorgeous apparel as means of mocking him. Gorgeous apparel, dear learners, were robes that were given to a king. A king was dressed in these robes, showing that this man is king. These people, Herod and his soldiers, were sure that they were mocking Jesus Christ. Yet on the irony, they were confirming that Jesus Christ was the king. For us who know that Jesus Christ was the king, we can tell that this was a confirmation that Jesus Christ was indeed a king. Okay. So having interrogated Jesus Christ, Herod did not find Jesus Christ guilty. So he failed to lay any charges against him because he did not respond to any of his questions. So what will he charge him of? So it was difficult for him. So also we believe that he found him not guilty. Thus he sent him back to Pilate. What we also learn from the story is that Pilate and Herod became friends from that day, which tells us that these people had been enemies before this time. We have learned in chapter 13 of Luke that the enmity of these people, these two leaders between Pilate and Herod, started when Pilate and his soldiers killed Herod's men while they were offering sacrifices to God, and that is where the enmity began. And we see that now the enmity has ended. They became friends, which also shows that Jesus Christ was a different person even in times of difficulty, but he still maintained to he was still able to bring unity amongst enemies. Look at these two, they became friends just because of Jesus Christ. So when Herod found him not guilty, he sent him back to Pilate, which is why now we are going to look at the third trial with Pilate again, where Pilate is going to pass his judgment to Jesus Christ. Pilate again said that he found Jesus Christ not guilty. He found him innocent. He said he didn't find him guilty of any of the charges laid against him. So he said that he was only going to punish Jesus, then release him. Why punish him if he said that, if he found him innocent? This is simply because he wanted the crowd, his subjects, to be happy, to make them happy. So for them to be happy, he has to make Jesus Christ guilty. The people will be happy that he is guilty and he is being punished and released. But that is not what the people wanted. Also, Pilate was aware of the tradition that each and every year at Passover, he had to release a prisoner. So Jesus Christ had to be found guilty so that he also may be considered for release. So basically, Pilate wanted to release Jesus Christ. So he made him guilty so that he may be considered for release. So he wanted to release him. But the crowds who were aware of the tradition refused that Pilate release Jesus Christ. They wanted Pilate to release a man called Barabbas and crucify Jesus Christ. So this tradition, which nowadays we refer to as a parole, it happens even in our own country where there are certain activities or celebrations whereby the king gives parole to certain criminals. So that was a tradition similar to what we see in Swaziland. So they insisted that that parole be granted to Barabbas. We read from the Bible that this man called Barabbas was a criminal, a serious criminal. He was a murderer, and also he had treason charges. But these crowds wanted him to be freed instead of Jesus Christ. They were aware that Barabbas was a murderer, but they felt that he was a better murderer because as a zealot, Barabbas will kill their enemies. He killed everyone who came on the way of the Jews. So they felt that he was fighting for them. Unlike Jesus Christ, on the other hand, who was claiming to be the Messiah, yet he did nothing to free them from their enemies. So in that way, he became unpopular. Thus, they preferred a serious criminal to be freed instead of him. Also, we note from the third trial that Pilate made several attempts to release Jesus Christ as he found him not guilty. But he failed. He has said a number of times that I found nothing wrong with this man. I do not find him guilty of any of the charges laid against him. But he could not free him because of the crowds. Finally, Pilate released Barabbas and delivered Jesus Christ up to their will. Probably because Pilate feared the crowds. We shall look at that sometime later. Let's move on now, dear learner, and look at the significance of the trials of Jesus. The trials of Jesus show that Jesus Christ was not guilty of any civil crime. Jesus Christ was not guilty of any civil crime. He was innocent. The charges show that all the three trials show that Jesus Christ was innocent. Remember, with the Sanhedrin, there was nothing found against him. With Pilate, there was nothing found against him. As well as with Herod, still there was nothing found against him. So he was innocent. Secondly, the charges show that Jesus Christ was not rebellious to the Roman government. In the charges that were laid against Jesus Christ, there is nowhere where we see Jesus Christ rebelling against the Roman government. Even though they said that they accused him of forbidding people from paying taxes to Caesar. You will remember, dear learner, that in the conflicts that we have already looked at, Jesus Christ is questioned about paying taxes to Caesar. And what did Jesus say? Render to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give God what belongs to God. So he never forbade people from paying taxes to Caesar. So we know now that he was not rebellious, since those charges were false. Also, the trials were a confirmation of Jesus's identity, that he was the Messiah. All three trials confirm that Jesus Christ was the Messiah. In his trial before the Sanhedrin, he is questioned, "Are you the Christ of God?" Jesus Christ did not deny that, but he only said that he was not going to answer that question. And then he continued to say, "But from now on, the Son of Man will be seated at the right hand of the power of God," which was confirming that he was the Messiah. Also, in the trial before Pilate, he is questioned by Pilate himself. "Are you Christ the King?" And what did he say? "You have said so." What you have said is correct. So he did not deny the fact that he was the Messiah, which shows that Jesus Christ was the Messiah. This was just a confirmation that Jesus Christ was the Messiah. Let's move on then, dear learners, and look at the charges laid against Jesus Christ. We're going to have an analysis of the charges laid against Jesus Christ in both the Sanhedrin and the Roman courts. Let's look at the charges laid against him in the Jewish court, the Sanhedrin. So before the Sanhedrin, the charges are religious. The charges leveled against Jesus before the Sanhedrin are religious. They are that of blasphemy, calling himself the Christ, calling himself the Son of God, and also equating himself to God by forgiving sins. Those charges are religious. Note. And then we've seen a shift or a change in the charges that were laid against Jesus Christ when they got to the Roman courts. Now the charges changed to be political. Now these were political charges. Why the change? This is because I have said already earlier on, learners, that the Roman court, was not responsible for religious issues. Romans had nothing to do with Jewish religious laws. So for Jesus Christ to be tried in the Roman court, the charges should suit the court in which they were in now. So for these charges to be considered by Pilate, they had to be political, affect the Roman government. Okay. Now the charges changed to be charges of treason. this man was for perverting the nation, revolting the nation against the Roman rule, forbidding people from paying taxes to the Roman government. Note that these taxes belonged to the Roman government, and most of these Jews did not like paying these taxes to the Romans, and the Romans were aware of that. Paying taxes to the Romans were a reminder, a painful reminder to the Jews. Paying taxes was a painful reminder to the Jews that they were ruled by foreigners. Yes, Lerato?
Before going any further, ma'am, there's a question from the viewer,
Yes.
which says, what is the meaning of Sanhedrin?
Okay, thank you. That's a very good question. Probably that Lena was not with us on our previous lesson. We said that Sanhedrin was a Jewish court which consists of 70 men, which dealt with religious issues like those issues or charges laid against Jesus Christ. I hope the question is answered.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That was well explained, and I'm sure that the viewer understood. You can continue with the lesson.
Okay, so having looked at these charges, you can tell the difference between these charges that are laid leveled against Jesus Christ in the two courts. Let's move on then now, dear learner, and look at the reasons why Pilate gave in to the people's demands. We have noted that he found him not guilty, innocent in all the charges that were laid against him. Yet, he finally gave the people what they wanted. He finally gave in to their demands. What was the reason behind that? So he was worried that the crowd will revolt if he didn't give in to their demands. So he was worried that if he did not give the people what they wanted, they will cause a riot in the city, and that will make him a poor leader who cannot control his subjects. So it was to maintain his power as a leader. Also, he feared for his career. He might have feared for his career. So as a Roman leader, he had to give in to the people because he was scared that if he did not give the people what he wanted, if he did not punish Jesus Christ, he may be sacked as leader, because that will mean that he will have allowed riot and chaos among the people. So he might lose his job as a leader if he did that. And also, he was afraid, he didn't want to forfeit his friendship with Caesar. Pontius Pilate was a good friend of Caesar, who was the Roman emperor, and he obtained this position of Roman leader because of that friendship. So if he lost this kind of friendship, then he will lose his position as a leader. So he did not he was not the rightful person for the position. He only obtained it through nepotism, only because he was Caesar's friend. So he had to do what was right by the subjects and by Caesar. Remember, Jesus Christ is accused of forbidding people to pay taxes to Caesar. That was a serious offense to Caesar. So he had to make sure that he maintains the friendship. Let's move on then now, dear Elena, and look at lessons we learn from the trials of Jesus, all the 3 trials. We learn that we must be firm in doing the right thing. We learn that we must be firm in doing the right thing. Just like Jesus Christ, he was firm, not shaken in standing for the truth that he was the Messiah. When he was questioned, he confirmed that he was the Messiah. He unlike Pilate, who could not stand for the truth. He knows the truth, yet he gave in to the people's demands because of his own interest and fear. We also learned, dear learners, to be good examples to others. Jesus Christ here proved to be a good example that we must stand for the truth. We also learned that we must not misuse power and authority. Look at what Pilate did. He misused his position as a leader. He knew the truth, yet he used his power to please his people and also to please his friend Caesar. We also learn not to accuse others falsely, like the chief priests and the scribes who laid false accusations against Jesus Christ. We also learn to be righteous. Jesus was innocent, so that teaches us to be righteous just like him. And lastly, we learn to stand for the truth. Unlike Pontius Pilate, who failed to stand for the truth. He knew that Jesus Christ was innocent, but could not stand for the truth because he wanted to please the people. He wanted to maintain his position. So we learn that is wrong. So we must not be like him. Having said all this, learners, I would like to give you some work which you should do at home. This is the question that I want you to do. Contrast the charges laid against Jesus in the Sanhedrin and the Roman trials. So you are comparing the charges in both the trials of Jesus before the Sanhedrin and the trial of Jesus before the Roman courts. Remember, learners, that when you are contrasting, you are bringing differences. So you are looking at the differences, especially between the charges that are laid before Jesus. In conclusion, let us try to summarize our lesson. Today we looked at the trials of Jesus before Pilate and Herod. We also looked at the charges laid against Jesus. We looked at the significance of the trials of Jesus. We looked at reasons why Pilate gave in to the people's demands. And lastly, we looked at the lessons that we learn from the trials of Jesus. I hope that you have attempted the assessment question already. Yes, Lerato, it seems like you have got something to say.
Sorry. Yes, I do. Actually, I have two questions from the viewer at home, and I also have answers for the trivia question, which I'm going to say later. Well, the questions are, what is the meaning of Sanhedrin? Which you answered that, right?
Yes, I did.
I think someone asked it again. And what was the significance of washing hands by Pontius Pilate?
Okay. The issue of washing hands is not on the account that I have just given, but scholars say that it was to say that he was not responsible for the death of an innocent man, since he found Jesus Christ not guilty of the charges laid against him.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Unfortunately, that is the end of our very interesting lesson. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope that the viewer at home was participating. And the answers to the trivia questions, well, the not so correct ones are Tanzania from 7872 7663, and then followed by 78524142. And then Mabuza Zabo says, those trees are found in the places where trees are kept for future generations. For instance, Maloloja Nature Reserve. And then the correct ones, which answered the question, was the oldest living tree is 4,843 years old. And where can it be found? The question was, the oldest living tree is 4,843 years old. And where can it be found? And the people who got the answer correct were 76727857. Sorry, 76727857 and 78558884. Thank you very much for participating. But before I go, I have another interesting question I would like you guys to answer. What is the hardest known natural material? What is the hardest known natural material? So I hope you guys will answer that question and you will give the correct response. Thank you for being with us, ma'am. Thank you to the viewer for watching. Up next is my colleague Nogwazi Dlamini, who is going to be presenting the next Form 5 subjects, which are Swati and physics.
Why is hand washing with soap effective against COVID-19? The coronavirus is too small to see, but is covered with little spikes that stick tightly to the natural greases on your skin. It gets on your skin by someone with COVID-19 coughing or sneezing nearby you, or by you touching an unclean surface where the virus can stay active for up to several days. But washing hands thoroughly with soap for 20 seconds is highly effective against the virus. Soap loosens the grip of the virus on the skin and destroys the outer layer of the virus, pulling it apart. This means the virus loses its power to infect people. Washing your hands well with soap means you can destroy or remove the virus and wash it away before it has the chance to infect you or your family. By washing hands with soap and water, people protect themselves, their loved ones, family, and the community. By acting together, we can help stop the spread of coronavirus.
Learn to cough and sneeze with your pal Grover. Step 1. Realize you are about to sneeze. Step 2. Move your elbow towards your nose and mouth. Step 3. Bless you. 1, 2, 3. Remember to cough and sneeze into your arm or elbow, not your hands.
COVID-19 Corona. COVID-19 Corona. COVID-19 Corona. COVID-19 Corona. COVID-19 Corona. COVID-19 Corona. Let's dance together. Join hands. Fight against Corona. Let's dance together.
Wash your hands with soap and running water frequently to prevent COVID-19.
Avoid touching eyes, nose, mouth, shaking hands to prevent COVID-19.
Are you coughing? Are you sneezing? Or having headache? Make sure that you quickly go to the hospital. COVID-19 Corona. COVID-19 Corona.
Wash hands now. Wash hands now. Wash hands now. Wash hands now. Hand washing is one of the best ways to keep from getting sick and staying healthy all the year long.
Asikwemukele mbukeli ehlelweni iHome Study ligama lami nginokwazi wakadlamini kanti kulesikhathi samanje sitawufunza siswati selibanga leli-11 from 5 kanti vele thishela sovele sawukhona nguye ke siphiwe sithole vase ngiright mosi
usho kahle nokwazi
yebo ngiyabonga ungabe unjani lelanga la namhla
ngiyaphila kakhulu nokwazi unjani wena
ngiyaphila nambe njani phela sondro yakho
beyikahle nokwazi bekungiko nje lokwasha tandla
yebo
ngemonti nensipho
yebo ke namuhla sifunza ngesivisiso engabe ubheke ukuthi umfunzi wakho abe afunze ini makuphela lesifundo
umfunzi kumele ukuthi akhona ukufunza umbhalo lani ngedewona awulandzele futhi akhona nekuphendvula imibuto ngendlela efanele anake umcondvo sebaleni nemcondvo lofihlekile.
Okay, ngiyathemba ukuthi bafunzi bakho sebavele ba ready ukuthi baqale lesifundo singakacithi isikhathi lesiningi ungaqala sifundo sakho.
Ngiyakwemukela noma ke ngiyakubingelela mfunzi ekhaya ikakhulu wena lo wendala ibanga leli-11 from 5. Mfunzi namuhla sitokufunza ngesivisiso. Sivisiso sethu ukhumbule ukuthi sitholakala ephepheni lesibili lapho khona kunetivisiso letimbili. Sekucala sivisiso kulapho khona utophendvula imibuto leminyenti bese lesinye sivisiso kulapho utofinyeta bese sokhipha likhono lelikhona ephepheni lekucala. Lele sitosibuka kabanti ke mfunzi sivisiso ngilesi lophendvula khona imibuto leminyenti. Sifumvo sethu usethulelwa nguyethishela wakho siphiwe sithole vase. Naka ke mfunzi kwekuthi njengoba sifundisa lulwimi lulolonga emakhono lamane. Sinelikhono lekufunza, sibe nelikhono lekubhala, kukhuluma nekulalela. Onke lamakhono langa ngiwo lasita ukuthi sikhone kulubamba kahle lulwimi silulandzele. Esivisisweni ke sona silolonga mabili emakhono. Kunelikhono lekufunza nelikhono lekubhala ngoba phela vele esivisisweni siyafunza. Lo tokudzinga ke mfunzi sisachubeka nesifundvo sethu libhuku lekubhalela kanye nekwekubhala phela. Asichubeke ke mfunzi sibuke ukuthi ingabe kumcoka ngani lokufunza lesivisiso. Sivisiso sicija likhono lekufunza ulandzele futhi uhlatiye lokubhaliwe. Futhi ke usafunza phela mfunzi uyakhona lokunambitha lulwimi lapha ke sikhuluma ngelulwimi lwesiswati. Uve bunanzi usafunza loyo mbhalo uze utibute utimangale ukuthi ingabe umbhali bekalisebenzisa ulicabange njani nje leligama lalisebenzisile embhalweni lothide. Futhi usafunza uyakhona kuthola imicondvo lesebaleni nalefihlekile emibhalweni. Lokufunza kuphindze kukusite ekuthuthukiseni likhono lekuhlunga nekuhlelembisa lokufunzile ekuphemvuleni umbuto. Sisaqhubeka ke futhi ngabo lobumqoka bekufunza sivisiso. Lapha kuyakusita ukuthi uyakhona nekubeka ngemagama akho. Lokufunzako. Kodwa ungawuguquli umqondvo walokubhaliwe. Lokusho ukuthi ke ngalamanye amagama uyakhona kuhumusha umbhalo. Sichubeke mfunzi usafunza kuyakusita ukuthi kukuhlomise ngekucabanga kabanti ngesimo noma info letsite bese uletha sisombululo. Lokho kuyakusita ukuthi ukhone kuchacha tinkinga tempilo ngendlela lecotho. Ungathi nje nangabe uhlangene nenkinga empilweni bese sokuthatha intsambo uyadilengisa. Letivisiso ngito letisita ukuthi tikhone lokusihlomisa ukuthi masihlangana netinkinga sitichacha kanjani. Futhi ke kuyasita ukuthi ukhone kutifaka esimeni salomunye umuntu kude ungadibuki njengeliso lakho kuphela etimeni letingavelela umuntu. Kukusite ukuthi ukhone kuvelana nebantu nabasetimeni letitsite futhi ukhone nekubeluleka nangabe bakuleto timo. Asesibuke ke mfunzi imigomo yesifundvo kubheke ukuthi sisafunza ngaso lesivisiso ukhone kunika tinhlobo temibhalo lesivisiso ukuthi sivisiso singaba nje ngitiphi tinhlobo. Setayele ukuthi kuba yindzaba kodwa sitobuka naletinye tinhlobo taso sivisiso. Futhi nje kumele ukuthi ukhone kufunza umbhalo ulandzele kungabi nje kugijimisa emehlo etikwemagama. Lokufunza kumele ukuthi ukhone kuguva ukuthi kuthini. Lokunye kumele ukuthi ukhone kuphendvula imibuto ngendlela lefanele. Unake ke mfunzi lapha ukuthi sibuka umcondvo losebaleni sibuke nemcondvo lofihlekile. Akusito tonke impendvulo lototi ikhanza nje tisebaleni utonaka nalo lokufihlekile. Lokunye lotokunaka ukuthi kumele ukuthi ukhone kuchaza emagama lakhethekile lawo ngemagama la ngaketayeleki lokufaka ekhathi tisho netaga. Nako ke kuveta imicondvo yakho ngalokufunzile nekuveta sisombululo senkinga lesembi kwakho. Kanjalo ke ukhone nekusebenzisa kahle sibitelo siyasigila kakhulu sihle singakhona ukusibhala lesingiso sibhale indzodza esikhundleni sokuthi indvodza. Sikhone nekusebenzisa kahle netimpawu tekubhala. Siyachubeka mfunzi. Lomunye soyatibuta nje ukuthi ingabe siyini sivisiso. Mfunzi sivisiso ngunoma ngangumuphi umbhalo le inhloso yawo ukuthi ufunze bese uphendvula imibuto lehlola ukuthi bewulandzela yini lokubhaliwe. Sivisiso ke njengoba ngishido ngathi sithi inhlobo nhlobo setayele ukuthi kuba yindzaba kungaphinze kube yincwadzi ungabe sesoyasangana nangabe ukhanza sivisiso seyincwadzi kungaba inkhulumiswano kungaba ngumbiko ikakhulu umbiko weliphephandzaba noma ke kube yinkondlo. Lokusho ukuthi konke lokhu kungaba divisiso lokunye nje angakubali. Ingabe sifunza kanjani ke sivisiso? Kwecala lokwentako ke mfunzi ucala ngekuhlatiya sihloko sesivisiso kude utawuthola umcondvo jikelele wembhalo. Esivisisweni lesihloko siye sihlongote ukuthi ingabe kutawukhulunywa ngani. Lokunye ke mfunzi sosifunzile sihloko wasihlatiya utobese ke mfunzi so usifunza sonke lesivisiso asengcizelele lapho ngokuthi usifunza sonke lesivisiso ungalingisi nje nababafunzi laba bese bavele nje baconza emibutweni bangakafunzi baconze emibutweni baphendvule labo bafunzi bafanana nangumfulo odlela emantongomane ekhikhini uthi asawadlala amantongomane ekhikhini utothuke sekadlana lelibolile nawe ke mfunzi nangabe utovele nje uconze ngale emibutweni bese soyaphendvula bese sowufaka imphendvulo letingasito udlala amantongomane labolile uyanaka ke netimpawu tekubhala timpawu tekubhala timcoka kakhulu ngito leti senta ukuthi sive ukuthi kukhulunywa ngani asesibuke nje na imisho lemibili lebhaliwe lapho sisengafiki kule misho asengithi nje kancane kuna mnumzane welikhaya usebenta eJozi sekushaya isikhathi sakhe isimusi uthumelela umkakhe umlayeto uthini lo mlayeto lamphumelelayo wona yihlabeni lenkomo sengikhona lokusho ukuthini lokusho ukuthi ningacali nithinze lenkomo sithe phela yihlabeni lenkomo sengikhona awuthi makafika ekhaya make wakakhe umhlangabeda ngayo indishi lenemanti nenkomishi phela bekafuna kumthelela kuze lawo manti atoba ngidawo la gijimako nesipho uyageza baba uyageza sekahleti babe sekaphumlile nangoma ke sowuletha lipalishi nehlabishi uthi babe hawo lasithole lo bengithi ngitomonqula nje mathumbu kwente njani wanginiketa lokumhlophe nalokumhlophe ukuthi ngidlani vele uyasho ke umkakhe ukuthi hayi phela babe ngifunzele lo mlayeto lo ngithumelele wona bokuthi yihlabeni lenkomo sengikhona uthi nje vele singacali sihlabe uthi hayi bengingasho kanjalo mina nje ngoba ngigathe mathumbu bengithi yihlabeni lenkomo sengikhona ngesimfunzi yihlabeni lenkomo sengikhona lokusho ukuthi nje bekagathe ukuthi babe utokhanza tonke tinvo tihamba kahle lapho bengifuna kuveta nje mfunzi ukuthi leti mpawu tekubhala timcoka kulomusho wekucala kude khefane ngikhoma ngethemba ukuthi uyakunaka lokho kulomusho wesibili sekuna khefane lo liphawu lwakhefane lolu ngilo lolwenta kokuthi ngesimfunzi ngilo lolwenta kokuthi bese sekuba nemicondvo lo wehlukile siyadinaka ke timpawu kuze lo funzako angatolahleka nanawe utokwengcisa lo mlayeto lobo ufuna vele kuwengcisa awu lapha nje babe kwabe sesovele solala ngalo hlabishi ngenzaba ukuthi bengangasebenzisi kahle timpawu tekubhala dilandzele timpawu ekufunzeni kwakho kanjalo nasekubhaleni kwakho utilandzele lokunye ke usafunza sivisiso uyadwebela phela lokumcoka lokungaba ngemagama ebantfu emagama etindzawo nemagama elikhethelo kungaba netisho netaka nako ukunake lokho ukudwebela asesibuke nje nasi sibonelo sesivisiso ngathi noma kutobonakala yini lapho sihloko sakhona sithi nobuhle mfombilenhle sithe sihloko siyahlongota ukuthi sivisiso singani lapha nje sesiyabona ukuthi wo kutokhulunywa nganobuhle nobuhle shothi khona la mdidako okay sithele sivisiso mfunzi lesithombe lengisibukako sisuke sende umcondvo wami uhambe ute ufike kulela langa mhla ngicala kubona umuntu loshayisa inhlitiyo yami tiki ngimbona nje ngangime station semabhasi emafutheni bengikatse ngivakashele umngani wami lomkhulu Lungelo namake bese kafe kungibelesela ukuthi ufuna kufa sekambonile malukatana lo tawumbasela umlilo asesinake nje lamagama lasakatwetshelwe mfunzi uthi wathi make em station wabona umflosha loshayisa inhlitiyo yakhe tiki loshothi wenta ukuthi le nhlitiyo yakhe incibilike shothi uyamthanza bekeme station semabhasi emafutheni ligama lenzawo lelo sithe siyadvebela phela emagama enzawo sitho khona lokulandzela kahle singabe sisithatha indzawo lesegcineni sifaka iba sekucaleni shothi nje lona usuka emafutheni kunemngane wakhe lomkhulu Lungelo ligama lemuntu lelo uthi makwakhe bese kafe kumbelesela nakaleli gama lalisebenzisile lapha umbhali shothi upheka khuluma info yinye kanyenti lo make wakhe umbelesela ngani ngokuthi sofuna ukuthi lo mfana wakhe salathatha malukatana yini umakoti umfati latambasela umlilo lo shothi lapha latamphekela uyanaka lapha lamagama lawasebenzisile umbhali makathi nje so kumele usale athatha umfati shothi sesiyabona ukuthi lesikhuluma ngaye akusuye nje umfana esikolo semdzala so sesigabeni sokuthi angathatha umfati angeke ngifunze konke kodwa asengibuye la ngesikhathi sisemile kwachamuka infombi ngisemile kwachamuka infombi lemhlophe ba naka lesenta kuthi lasebenzisile lapho umbhali ufuna kugcamisa lelibala layo lenfombi umuntu phela mfunzi unelibala ude umbala shothi sesiyabona nje lapha ukuthi libala lakhe lona lokukhulunywa ngaye uyakhanya ukhanyisa welilanga lokunye lesikubukako beyifake ingubo lemnyama ilengisa sikhwama lesihambelana nengubo ihamba nje yeluka lijezi umbhali usebenzisa igama lesiswati la lelito khona lokuhambelana nanaku la kwentako setayile ukuthi siyanitha kodwa yena usebenzisele lesiswati yeluka lijezi yefika yema ethutane nami sabukana yase yangibingelela ngayitshela ukuthi ngingujabulani yona yathi ingunobuhle ngangihle ngimbuka kancane angangiboni yena ngoba anake lijezi lakhe noma singema lapho mfunzi kulesicashuna sethu lesi ngangihle ngimbuka kancane ayike ukuthi bekahle afifiyela usho ukuthini bekahle ameba khona anganombona ukuthi uyambuka ingabe ke iphendulwa njani ke imibuto yesevisiso naka ke mfunzi kwekuthi lokwentako nje ekucaleni ucala ngekuhlatiya umbuto uthole ukuthi udzinga kwekuthi wenteni ukwente njani futhi ukwente kanganani uyakunaka lokho wentani ukwenta njani futhi ukwenta kanganani lokunye lokunakako unaka emamaki embuto kwekuthi anganani ngoba lokubhalako kumele ukuthi khambelane nalamamaki kunemibuto ledzinga ukuthi kube nje igama linye angeke ke wena bese sobhala kuba inzima kunemibuto ledzinga ukuthi kube ngumusho lempemvulo yakho umusho uvakale mfunzi usebenzise kahle netimpawu tekubhala kanjalo leminye imibuto idzinga ukuthi impemvulo ibe liphuzu lelesekelwe wenda njalo lamamaki ngiwo lakusida ukuthi kumele ukuthi ubhale lokunganani asesibuke ke inhlobo temibuto mfunzi sisithe siyanaka ukuthi kuba nemicondvo sebaleni nemicondvo lofihlakele nangabe nje umbuto unemicondvo sebaleni shothi loyo impendvulo utoyithola khona lapha esevisisweni itovele nje ibonakala asesibuke nase sibonelo ngubani lolo shayisa inhlitiyo yemcoci wenzaba ngetiki sikutholile kuloku yale sicephunile ngale ukuthi ngunobuhle sikutholile bekusebaleni lesinye isibonelo enzimeni yekucala lapha ke sebaze bayakulayela ukuthi impemvulo utoyitholaphi yini leyayisolo ikhathata umcoci wenzaba sitfolile ukuthi make wakhe bekasolo amfundekela ukuthi sale athatha umfati ufuna kufa sekamthethe umfati. Lapho besibona timphendvulo letisebaleni. Kunemibuto ke ledzinga timphendvulo letifihlekile. Lapha ke sitoyihlukanisa leyo mibuto yethu. Kwecala nje kungaba kuhlatiya similo, simo noma sehlakalo. Lapha lokwentako uyahlatiya lokufunze endzabeni uthole ukuthi umbhali bekaconze kusivetelani ngako usengakafiki emphendvulweni. Asesibuke nasi sibonelo nasi. Ngeliphuzu linye lelesekelwe. Chaza similo salungelo. Asesifunze naku ukuze sitokhona ukusichaza similo salungelo. Ngathi ngitekela lungelo ukuthi ngithandzana nemuntu lomuhle lobendlula bonke emhlabeni. Wangihleka ngekuphukuta. Wangitshela ukuthi bekangethemba sengingade ngihlanyiswe lide. Wade wafuna kuva ukuthi ukhona yini lomunye bengihlekisana naye. Ngathi nangimtshela ukuthi angifisi kuba nalomunye. Wabe futhi aluphosa. Noma singagcina lapho khona lese sikutfolile ngaye lungelo longachaza similo sakhe. Similo singasichaza ngala kwentako umlingisi thide noma la kushoko. La kwentile nje lungelo la sesiyatfola ukuthi ungumuntu lonjani. La kushito lungelo la siyatfola ukuthi ungumuntu lonjani. Sitholile lungelo ukuthi umuntu lonemona uma sisekela sitosekela ngana kuya la kwentile noma la kushito. Esikhundleni sokuthi ambongele umngane wakhe yena wenda njani uyamgceka uthi usanganiswa lide futhi uthi lokhomba ukuthi akamfiseli lokuhle. Siyachubeka mfundzi nato tinhlobo temibuto yona lena lenetimphendvulo letifihlekile. Sinemibuto ke lephathelene nelulwimi. Lena lephathelene nelulwimi kudzinga ukuthi uchaze emagama njengoba asetshenzisiwe noma uchaze tisho netaga njengoba tisetshenzisiwe endzabeni. Uyanaka ke lapha mfundzi ukuthi ligama awulichazi ulichaza ngendlela lemalula nalevakalako futhi awubuyisi emagama lobo ubutwe ngawo. Asengunikete nje nasi sibonelo nasi likhambi kule sumansumane. Likhambi singalichaza sithi sisombululo. Kule nsumansumane singachaza ukuthi kulenkinga. Uyanaka ukuthi lemphendvulo yami ihambelene futhi naloku bengibutwe ngalendlela bengibutwe ngayo. Likhambi kule nsumansumane angasho ke mina ukuthi sisombululo salenkinga ngithe sisombululo kulenkinga ngoba bethiwe kule nsumansumane phela mfundzi. Lapho khona kuzika ukuthi uchaze tisho netaga. Uyanaka ke mfundzi ukuthi uniketa inchazelo lemalula kungabi kwekuthi uchaza sisho nesaga ngalesinye sisho nesaga. Asesibuke nje nasi sibonelo bathi chaza danladi yagezana. Angeke uchaze ngokuthi ikhotha leikhothako lengayikhothi iyayikhahlela ngoba solo kusaga lokya. Incazelo lengiyo ithi umuntu usita lamsitako njengoba masibona nje tandla vele lesi sangasekudla siyesigeze sangasencele. Angeke lesi sangasekudla sitigeze sodwa noma sigeze lesangasencele bese lesangasencele asigezi sangasekudla. Umuntu usita lamsitako. Siyachubeka mfundzi khona elulwimini futhi kuye kube nemagama labo umcondvofana. Umcondvofana yini? Lo munye uyadibuta ekhaya. Umcondvofana ngulelinye ligama laleyo ndvo. Njenganali lelithi malukatana. Malukatana umakoti. Shothi ngelinye igama la malukatana lelo. Siye sibe futhi nabo umcondvophikisa. Umcondvophikisa yini ke yena? Shothi ligama lelingavumelani naleli libhaliwe. Shothi liyaphikisa. Njengekuthi umngani leliphikisa umngani sitha. Liciniso leliphikisa liciniso ngemanga. Sesibake nabo umcondvomnyenti. Umcondvomnyenti shothi ligama linye lelingashoti indvo letinyenti. Njenganali nje kufuta. Kufuta ngingasho kufana nemtali. Bani ufute unina. Noma ke lisho kubhidlita. Shothi lelo gama linye kodwa lishoti indvo letinyenti. Ungako sithi umcondvo mnyenti. Uyawanaka ke lawo magama mfunzi. Asesibuke ke lihlobo lolunye lwemibuto. Lo mbuto lona ke sowudzinga ukuthi utifake esimeni lesivetiwe, uvete isisombululo kuleyo nkinga. Asesifunze naku. Kwathi ngalelinye ilanga siye eposini ngayithola incwadi. Yayibhalwe ngemshini ngephandle. Nangiyifunza ekugcineni bekude ligama. Futhi nelikheli kude etulu. Lengakubambisisa lokwakubhaliwe nginaku. Ngiyadada itindzaba takho nanobuhle. Kungivisa buhlungu ngoba awumati impilo yakhe njengami. Bonga kuthi uthole kuyalwa kumuntu longamati. Ngifuna wathi ukuthi nobuhle akasiko lokulocabanga ukuthi ungiyiko. Wakwadisa yini ukuthi sewunemvana? Wakujela mhla esuka lapho engcenye wathi uyayithi ihlosheni takhe. Ngiyadi angeke wethembe ukuthi kuliqiniso. Ngayicetha lencwadi sengibambelele evulande laseposini. Sichubeke mfunzi nangwe umbuto. Umbuto ususele kulesa sicasho nalesiya. Kube bewungijabulani. Bewungamenta njani nobuhle emva kwekuthola lencwadi. Sekela impendulo yakho neliphuzu linye. Bewungamenta njani uyakunaka lokho akuvakale. Ungasho nje ukuthi bekude bengamenta kona, akube khona lo menta kona. Wenda njani bani nobuhle. Okay? Lapha ke lokunakako ke mfunzi uyalinaka liphimbo lobhala ngalo. Uyalinaka liphimbo lobhala ngalo. Kuthi tiwe lapha kube bewungujabulani. Shothi soyangena nyalo eticatfulweni tajabulani. Senguwe lo jabulani manje. Shothi nobuhle sengile mfombi yakho ke nyalo. Wena mfunzi. Uyanaka ke ukuthi kule mpemvulo yakho akuvakale lobongamenta kona. Unikede sizathu sekumentela leyo ntfo leyo. Bese soyasekela, usekela ngalokusenzabeni. Asengikunikete nje sibonelo. Bengingamala. Nawo ke bekangamenta kona lo. Ngoba ukhombise kungethembeki. Wangitshela ukuthi uyawubona make wakhe lomncane longaphili kodwa sekuthiwa sewunemvana. Ngachubeka ke mfunzi ukufunze lokho kuyevakala. Bese ke lihlobo lwegcina lembuto nalo lidzinga ukuthi uvete umbono wakho ngendvo letsite njengekuthini ngekubuka kwakho kumcoka ngani kumcoka yini kufuna sisayimaqiniso ngendvo letsite usengakathathi tinyathelo kumcoka yini mele kuvakale ukuthi yebo noma cha ke bese soyasekela sifumbo sethu sisibeka lapho mfunzi ukhumbule ukuthi besifunza ngesivisiso unake ukuthi kumcoka ukuthi ufunze ulandzele umbhalo ungagcini lapho ukhona nekuphendula imibuto ngendlela lefanele unake umcondvo losebaleni nemcondvo lo udzinga ukuthi ucabange bese ke ngiyakuvalelisa vele mfundzi ngiyethemba ukuthi isifundo sethu usifokotele utotile bathi sayeke tivisiso letisencwadzini yakho umthombo weSwati 4 ngikufisela kufunza lokuhle usachubeka nekufundza.
Siyabonga kakhulu Siphiwe isifundo sakho besimnanzi kakhulu. Siyethemba ukuthi sitawuphinde sikubone futhi etifundweni letilandzelako teSiswati.
Asethembe nokwazi.
Mbukeli ungayinzalo nzawo siyabuya khona manje kanye naso sifundo sephysics salo libanga la ka form 5. Siyabuya khona manje asithathe nje likhefu lelincane.
Bonana, buyena nigeze tandla sitokudla.
Okay make, Thabo sebenzisa insipho. Angeke usebenzise amandopho. Tandla tamitide umhlaba musinolwazi. Kuthi tandla takho tide umhlaba kusho ukuthi akukangcola. Kumele tandla sitigeze njalo ngensipho nemanti lahamba kwesikhathi lesingaka 20 seconds njengoba wasifundzisa teacher. Khona kutowesuka kungcola nemagciwane labangakugula.
Thabo, lalela sisi wakho phela Shiva. Kumthoka ukuthi tandla utigeze ngensipho kanye nemanti lahlobile esikhathi lesingaka 20 seconds. Mawutokudla, mawucedza kusebenzisa umthoyi, mawucedza kutsinza tilwane. Noma mawucedza kushinjela nabukeni. Kumele futhi sihlande imithoyi netindzawo lesikude ngalokubulala emagciwane.
Sekusikhathi segeza tandla, geza tandla, geza tandla emagciwane akana-chance, geza tandla manje. Thele manje ufake insipho, yonke indzawo, bese uyakata ngemanti, bese uyatisula.
Sanibonani.
Sawubuyile baba.
Idzaba ndingethelwa nguVictor Sloan. Lo mhla sidawuva kabanti ngesifo seCovid-19. iCovid-19 sifo lesibangwa ligciwane lecorona. Lesifo sendluliseka ngekuthi emathe laphuma emlonyeni walonaso nakakhohlela noma khuluma awelethe intweni leti kuleyo ndzawo. Bese loyo longanaso utsinza leto tindvo ngetandla aphinza atsinze emehlo, impumulo noma umlomo. Tindlela ke tekunciphisa amathuba ekuthi uthole lesifo seCovid-19 noma ekusanzisa. Ungalandzela nathi nyathelo. Geza tandla ngensipho nemanti lahlobile noma usebenzise isanitizer. Tsimula noma ukhwehlelele ngekhatsi kwengcoza loyigobile noma usebenzise liphepha lekufinya. Lelo phepha ubese ulilahla emgqonyeni. Gwema kutsinza emehlo, impumulo nemlomo ngetandla longakatigezi. Gcina sikhala lesinganga 1 meter emkhatsini wakho nalabanye bantfu. Natsa njalo emanti lahlobile utawugcina umtimba wakho ungiloshukumako. Mawutiva ngathi awusiye lophilile, kumbe uyakhohlela, uyashisa noma uphefumula kalukhuni, shayela inombolo lethi 977. Khumbula, hlala uphephile, hlala ekhaya.
Ngiyethemba niyeva ukuthi basicwayisa bathini boShiba. Kumqoka kakhulu ukuthi silandzele tonke letinyathelo kude singatholi futhi singasanzisi lesifo seCovid-19. Futhi kumele sihlale ekhaya kuze siphephe, niyeva kambe?
Yebo babe.
Why is hand washing with soap effective against COVID-19? The coronavirus is too small to see, but is covered with little spikes that stick tightly to the natural greases on your skin. It gets on your skin by someone with COVID-19 coughing or sneezing nearby you, or by you touching an unclean surface where the virus can stay active for up to several days. But washing hands thoroughly with soap for 20 seconds is highly effective against the virus. Soap loosens the grip of the virus on the skin and destroys the outer layer of the virus, pulling it apart. This means the virus loses its power to infect people. Washing your hands well with soap means you can destroy or remove the virus and wash it away before it has the chance to infect you or your family. By washing hands with soap and water, people protect themselves, their loved ones, family, and the community. By acting together, we can help stop the spread of coronavirus.
A very warm welcome to our viewers and a very good afternoon if you have just joined us. Where have you been? Right now we are doing Form 5 Physics with Mr. Patrick Dlamini. I am Nowazi Dlamini if you have just joined us. Mr. Patrick, how are you doing this afternoon?
Good day. I'm fine, Nowazi. How are you?
I'm great, thank you very much. How was your weekend?
My weekend was just okay because I've been busy preparing for this lesson.
Okay, that's good to hear, sir. I understand that today we're doing wave properties and sound.
Exactly, Nogwazi. That's today's topic.
Okay,
we'll
so
just looking at that.
Okay, all right. So, what are you expecting your learner to have learned by the end of this lesson?
All right. Maybe before I move on to our objectives for today's lesson, it's worth mentioning that when looking at waves and sound, that topic is very, very important to our. In fact, it's very, very important for us to deliberate on that topic. Yes, maybe I can mention one point here that right now you are watching your television. Basically, when we are looking at the way they send these pictures for us to be able to view our televisions at home, even radio broadcasting, actually that involve the use of waves.
Okay.
Right. And then another thing worth mentioning is that when we're looking at wireless communication, for instance, our mobile phones, our network mainly is just waves. It's worth mentioning that even Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which is actually used to transfer data from one mobile phone to another, that's nothing but waves. Also, when looking at sound waves, they are quite important for us to know about them, because verbal communication is actually possible because of sound waves. For instance, for a learner in class to actually hear what a teacher is actually saying to him or her, actually sound waves are actually involved. And even creatures generally, when they go for hunting, they need these sound waves, especially birds. Yes, maybe I can now move on to look at just today's objectives here. So, viewer at home, here are our objectives. The first one here, maybe before I go through these objectives, it's worth mentioning again that these objectives may seem to be too long, but actually they are correlated, as you're going to understand that as we go through them. So our first objective here, you should be able to describe what is meant by wave motion and illustrate as illustrated by vibrations in ropes, springs, and by experiments using sound waves. That's one objective that you should be able to accomplish by the end of the lesson. Another objective here is to distinguish between transverse and longitudinal waves. So you should be able to state that difference between the two types of waves. Another thing which is important here, you should be able to state what is meant by wave speed, frequency, wavelength, amplitude, and wave front. So these are the terms which we actually use when describing a wave. Then another thing which is worth mentioning here, or another objective, here you should be able to recall and use what we call the wave equation. So our wave equation is V there is equal to frequency times wavelength. Then the next objective here is to demonstrate the use of water waves to show reflection, refraction, and diffraction. Then when looking at sound waves, it's important for you to be able to note that
sound waves are longitudinal, and also to explain why sound needs a medium for transmission. Right. And then when we look at the next objective here, again, it's on audible frequencies. So you should be able to state the value of what we call audible frequencies, the approximate range, and also relate loudness and pitch to amplitude and frequency. Also to describe an experiment to determine the speed of sound in air and make necessary calculations. So those are the objectives for today's lesson. Right, now we can move on to look at what we mean by wave motion. So when looking at wave motion, generally we can say waves transfer energy from one point to another without transferring matter, meaning that when a wave moves from one point to another, it's only the wave which actually moves from one position, or the wave energy which moves from one position to another, but the particles of the media only vibrate about their fixed positions. So examples of wave motion can include one, which is water waves, two, which is ropes, and also looking at springs. So here we do have some diagrams which illustrate that. So the first diagram here represent water in a pond. So when we are playing with water in a pond, maybe disturbing that water using a stone. So what actually happens here, we can see the circular ripples which are actually formed here around that disturbing position there. So these circular ripples actually spread sideways. So they are spreading like sideways there from that position. So here we're saying the wave energy will be moving from that position, which is central there, towards the end of that pond. So right here, we can see that it's only the wave energy which is actually moving, but the particles of the media, they are not moving. They are just vibrating about their fixed position there. Then we can look at the second picture there, whereby we have this guy here playing with a rope. So there is some physics which is going on there. So as this guy is actually holding the rope at that position, so you find that when moving that rope up and down like that, so we'll see a wave coming from the hand moving towards that tree there. So that's the direction of wave motion there. So it's from that guy there towards the tree there. But then the particles of the rope, they are not moving from the hand towards the tree. So what's happening to the particles of this rope? The particles are only vibrating there, up and down. They are not moving towards that tree there. The last picture there shows a spring. So similarly, when the spring is actually disturbed at that position by moving it back and forth, so actually now we'll see a wave which will propagate in that direction. So once again, the particles of the media will only vibrate. There is no movement of particles from one position to the next. Then now we can look at what's next here, which is transverse and longitudinal waves. So we have basically two types of waves, which are the transverse wave and then the longitudinal wave. Right. So by a transverse wave, what do we mean by a transverse wave? So a transverse wave, these are waves in which the particles of the media vibrate perpendicular to the direction of wave motion, or perpendicular to the direction of travel of that wave. Normally we can we can experience or we can observe these transverse waves when dealing with water waves, when looking at ropes, and even springs there. So we have a picture of a spring here. Then looking at this spring, so at that position, as you can see, that hand there is actually moving the spring up and downwards like that. Then we'll observe a wave which is actually moving from the disturbing hand there towards the other end of the spring, which is actually fixed at that position there. Right. Now, when looking at this definition of a transverse wave, we are saying the particles of the media, they are vibrating perpendicular to the direction of wave motion. So the particles of the media here will be moving or vibrating up and down, whilst the wave motion is actually forward, as shown by that arrow there. So if we look at that direction of vibration of the particles of the media and that direction, which is actually the direction of wave motion, it's actually perpendicular there. So that's what we call a transverse wave. The particles vibrate perpendicular to the direction of wave motion. Then we can move on to look at longitudinal waves. Right. So if we look at a longitudinal wave, we can say longitudinal waves are waves in which the particles of the media vibrate parallel to the direction of wave motion. For example, we can have sound waves, we can have slinky springs. That's where we can actually observe these longitudinal waves. Here we have an example of a spring here. So the spring is actually being disturbed at this end by actually moving it back and forth. So the direction of a wave motion here, or the wave we're going to observe, it will move from that hand towards the end of the spring there. So the particles of this spring will be actually vibrating back and forth there, whilst the wave is actually moving forward. So if we look at that direction of vibration of the particles there of that spring together with the direction of wave motion, we can say they are parallel. So that's what we call a longitudinal wave. I hope that one is clear. You can easily differentiate between longitudinal waves and then transverse waves. So what we're going to look at next now is just terms that we use to describe a wave. Here we have a diagram which we'll be using actually to go through these terms which we actually use for describing waves. Right, so our diagram here has some terms which are of interest to us. So the first term is actually the crest. Then the next term is actually wavelength. Then the next term it's amplitude. So as you can see, amplitude is there. Then we have a trough. So these are some of the terms which are worth mentioning when describing a wave. So now we can look at the first term here, which is a crest. Then what do we mean by a crest of a wave? So a crest of a wave is the highest point the particles of the media or the particles can rise to them. Then as we can see in our diagram, our crests are here at that position. So we have the crest there. Then we can look at the trough. What do we mean by the trough or the trough there? So the trough there, it's actually the lowest point the particles of the media or the particles can sink to. So that's a trough. And looking at our diagram again, we can look at this diagram. So a trough is down here. So that's where the particles can actually, that lowest point there to which those particles can actually sink them. Then a wavelength. Or before we move on to wavelength, there is amplitude there. So then what is amplitude? That's the maximum displacement of a point. It's the maximum displacement of a point from its rest position. So as the wave passes, that maximum displacement of the wave is actually that maximum displacement of a point is actually the amplitude. So we normally symbolize it with that small letter A. So our amplitude here, it's been marked. So that's our amplitude there. Then another term that we use when describing a wave, it's what we call frequency there. Or before we go to frequency, there is wavelength there. So wavelength, that's the distance between a point on a wave and a corresponding point in the next cycle of the wave. So that's what we call the wavelength. So the wavelength is actually symbolized by that Greek letter there, lambda there. So we can look at our diagram there. So we can choose 2 points which are on the same phase. For instance, looking at our crests here, looking at these crests, they are points which are on the same phase. So the distance between those 2 points, we call it the wavelength, lambda there. So similarly here, we can have these 2 points, or maybe let's have 3 points there. So you find that the distance from point A there to point B, maybe this one is C. So the distance from point A to B is actually the same as the distance from B to C, and those points marks the wavelength of that wave there. Then another point or another term worth mentioning is what we call the frequency of the wave there. Then what do we mean by frequency there? So the frequency there is the number of oscillations per unit time, or the number of complete cycles obtained per second there. It is measured in hertz, and 1 hertz is equal to 1 oscillation per second. Nokwazi? Yes.
Yes, Patrick, can we take a little bit of a break, maybe if you need one? Viewers, can we take just a little bit of an infomercial break? We'll be right back after this.
Cool.
TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3 hash and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Wash hands now. Wash hands now. Wash hands now. Wash hands now. Hand washing is one of the best ways to keep from getting sick and staying healthy all the year long.
Welcome back to our viewers. You are still tuned in to Eswatini TV, and this is Home Study, and we are doing physics for Form 5 with Mr. Patrick Dlamini. Patrick, I'll let you carry on with your lesson.
Right, thank you, Nokwazi. Viewer at home, we've been looking at some of the terms which are actually used when describing waves. We mentioned a few terms. Right now, we've been looking at, just before the break, we've been looking at frequency. So we're saying frequency here, it's the number of oscillations produced per unit time, and it is measured in hertz. Then 1 hertz is actually 1 oscillation per second there. So it's worth mentioning that when looking at frequency, it's again important for you to actually note maybe in this diagram where a cycle starts and where a cycle ends. So looking at this diagram here, so a cycle of that wave, or an oscillation of that wave, for instance, I have made or I've marked 2 points here, A and a point B there. So a cycle there should consist of a crest and that a trough there. So the number of these cycles which are actually produced in 1 second, that's the frequency of the wave. Then the next thing to look at is what we call a wave front. Then what do wave front mean there? So when looking at wave fronts, these are nothing but lines drawn at points along the wave that are on the same phase. So we choose points that are on the same phase and then draw some lines there to mark what we call wave fronts. When marking these wave fronts, it's important that these lines are actually drawn such that they are perpendicular to the direction of travel of the wave. Then maybe to clarify that, we can go back to our diagram which we actually use for modeling a wave there. So our diagram here, a wave front. So in fact here we have 2 points which are on the same phase, maybe those crests there. So if we mark here, if we mark this crest and mark this crest and mark that crest there. So here we can actually come up with some lines which are vertical like that, and these lines are actually perpendicular to the direction of travel of that wave. So looking at these lines which are marked on those points which are on the same phase, so we call these lines wave fronts. So I hope that one is actually clear there. Then the next thing which we're going to look at now is what we call the wave equation. Right, here what do we mean by the speed of a wave? So now, speed of a wave refers to the distance covered by the wave per unit time. So the speed of a wave is given by that equation, which we call it the wave equation. That equation is V is equal to F times lambda there. So the V there, it's the velocity or the speed in meters per second. F there is the frequency in hertz, and the lambda there represents our wavelength, which is usually in meters there. Then we can now have a question in order to see how can we actually apply this wave equation when given a question. So here is our question, which actually reads thus. So the figure below represents some wave fronts. So we have our figure here, as you can see. Then the question is, calculate the wavelength of the waves. The next question is, 10 seconds earlier, the wavefront A occupied the position 10 seconds earlier, the wavefront A occupied the position now occupied by wavefront F. Then calculate the frequency of the waves. Then part C of these questions is calculate the speed of the waves showing your working. So now if we look at the first question here, it's calculate the wavelength of the waves. So how do we get the wavelengths? So what we have to note here, we have these wave fronts. So that distance between the wave fronts is actually our wavelength lambda there. So now to calculate the wavelength, we can see that the distance from the point F there to point A there, that distance is actually 15 centimeters. Then we can count the number of wavelengths that we have here. So the number of wavelengths here, it's from F to E. Then another wavelength will be from E to D. Another wavelength will be from D to C, then C to B, then B to A, which amounts to 5 wavelengths. So now, what will be the wavelength here? So our wavelength will then divide the total distance from F to A, which is 15 centimeters. Going to divide that by 5 wavelengths, which give us 3 centimeters. So we can write our wavelength here. It's 3 centimeters there. Then part B there, it's 10 seconds earlier, wavefront A occupied the position now occupied by wavefront F. Calculate the frequency of these waves. Then how do we get the frequency? Once again, the definition of frequency there, we've said it's the number of oscillations or wavelengths produced per unit time. Here it takes 10 seconds, as you can see, it takes 10 seconds to produce 5 wavelengths. Then how many wavelengths will be produced in 1 second? So now, to get the number of wavelengths, we can use a ratio here. So if we're saying 10 seconds is to 5 oscillations there, 5 oscillations, then if now we're looking at number of oscillations produced in 1 second, that will be equivalent to our frequency there. So if we cross multiply here, we'll get your 10F, which is equal to 5 times 1 there, which is 5. Then dividing that by 10, your frequency F there will be 0.5 hertz there. So you can see that dividing the 5 by the 10 there, we get our frequency, which is 0.5, meaning that it's only 0.5 oscillations that are produced in 1 second. That is half an oscillation there. Then looking at the last question there, which is part C, calculate the speed of the waves showing your working there. So you should remember that our wavelength is actually 3 and our frequency there is 0.5 hertz. Then how do we calculate the velocity of this wave? So to get the velocity here, we can actually use the wave equation. So our wave equation, its velocity is the frequency multiplied by the wavelength. So our frequency is 0.5 hertz multiplied by our wavelength, which is 3 centimeters. So if you multiply 0.5 by 3 using your calculator, then you will get 1.5 it's centimeters per second, because our wavelength is actually in centimeters. I hope that question is actually clear on how we actually use that wave equation to actually work out our velocity and also to determine the frequency of a wave. Then we can move on now to look at reflection. So what is reflection when looking at waves? So reflection of a wave is nothing but that refers to the bouncing back of a waves at an angle upon striking a surface. So when these waves bounce back upon striking a surface, we refer to that as reflection. So it's worth mentioning that the angle of incidence should always be equal to that angle of reflection during reflection there. So, and another point here is that there is no change in speed, and that is speed and wavelength during reflection. So in this diagram here, we have some wave fronts. As you can see there, they are approaching our surface there. So that's our surface. So these wave fronts, when they pass that surface, or when they strike that surface, what's going to happen there? So they are going to bounce back at an angle there, as shown by that arrow there. So when they bounce back like that, so that's what we call reflection. So they always bounce back such that the angle here, which is our angle of incidence, is equal to the angle here, which is our angle of reflection there. This is our angle of incidence there. So that is actually reflection of waves there. That's the bouncing back of waves at an angle when striking a surface, and there is no change in wavelength and speed of the waves upon striking that surface. So it's important that when you are drawing these diagrams, the wavelength or the distance between those wave fronts, the incident wave fronts this side and the reflected wave fronts on the other side there, that distance between those wave fronts should be just the same there. Then we can move on to the next thing we're going to look at here, which is actually refraction of waves. So refraction of waves, it's all about the change in speed and direction of waves when they pass from one media to another of different thickness there. So the speed and wavelength changes during refraction, but the frequency remains constant here. So as we can see in our diagram here, actually you have these waves which are moving from that deeper region to that shallow region. So as they pass through the boundary of the two regions, which are of different thickness, they are actually bent. And what's worth mentioning there is that the distance between these refracted wave fronts is actually shorter there than that distance of the between the incident wave front. So the wavelength of the refracted wave fronts are actually shorter there compared to those wavelengths of the actually incident wave fronts. Right. Now that marks the end of our lesson because of time, viewer at home. So actually I don't know, Nokwazi, maybe you have something to say.
Yes, I was just about to cut you off right there. We have actually run out of time. You're actually right. Unfortunately, I'm sorry you couldn't finish your lesson, but I'm sure you'll be able to finish it in the next session.
Thank you so much, Nokwazi. Right.
Thank you very much. We'll see you again for more physics for Form 5.
Exactly. We're still going to come here for more and more physics, that will be interesting for the learner.
Thank you very much, Nkosi. Viewers, please do not go anywhere. Lerato and myself will be right back after this short infomercial break.
Pay your TV license for being in possession of devices such as television sets, DVDs, VCRs, monitors, and more. You are reminded that payments of TV licenses is due on or before the 31st of December every year. 180 Malangeni per year for individual or business viewership, 300 Malangeni for television trading license, and 50 Malangeni for other devices. You can pay for your TV license through MTN Mobile Money, Eswatini Mobile Imali, Netbank, and Eswatini Telecom. Visit us at the television license offices at the Madlenya House, Babane, or call this number 3434 1234. Pay yours every year.
Fame, unfiltered. A talk show that will reveal the emotional hustle behind the fame.
I was bullied to the core that I felt worthless.
We read about them.
Yes, chef.
We see them on stage.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining.
We watch them on TV. But depression does not discriminate. Help for all. Fame, unfiltered.
Welcome back to our viewers. Unfortunately, that was the last lesson for the day. Lerato, I remember you asked a question earlier about one of the trivia questions. Do you have the answer for the viewers back home?
Well, I do have the answer, and the answer to the question is California. The question was, the oldest living tree is 4,843 years old, and where can it be found? And the answer to that, viewer, is California. It can be found in California. I also asked a question which said, what is the hardest known natural material?
Yes.
And 5 of our viewers got it correct. And the answer is diamonds.
Yes, the diamond, the girl's best friend. All right, viewers, just to remind you about tomorrow's timetable, grade 7s, Form 3s, and Form 5s, this is what tomorrow looks like for you. From 2 p.m. until 2:30 p.m., we have mathematics for grade 7. Then from 2:30 p.m. until 3:08 p.m., we have English language for Form 3. From 3:08 p.m. until 3:45 p.m. we have mathematics for Form 3. From 3:45 p.m. until 4:25 p.m. we have English language for Form 5. Then the last subject for the day from 4:25 p.m. until 5 p.m. is Eswatini for Form 5. So we hope that the Form 5s, the Form 3s, and the grade 7s will be ready for learning tomorrow. Lerato, please tell us about our social media platforms.
Well, guys, we have YouTube and Facebook where we're live from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. So if you've missed any episodes, you can get them on our YouTube page, which is Eswatini TV.
Yes.
Or you can get them on our Facebook page as well.
All right, and please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page so that you get notifications of when we are live. Now, can I please leave you guys with a question? Maybe you will think about it and maybe you will answer, and we'll give you the answer tomorrow. This is your trivia question. Diabetes develops as the result of a problem with which specific organ in the body? I'll repeat that. Diabetes develops as the result of a problem with which specific organ in the body? Well, we'll see you guys tomorrow. More trivia questions.
And I have one trivia question which says, oncology focuses on what disease? Oncology focuses on what disease? So can we have the answers tomorrow, guys?
We're looking forward to that and to more trivia questions as well. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
You are watching Eswatini TV. Sibuko seMaswati.
Nthathise ngiso lesinye isikhathi lapho khona uNkulunkulu lasinikete sona ukuthi singakhona sibamfube